You're standing in the kitchen, staring at the estimate your contractor just sent over, $25,000. And honestly, you have the money, it's sitting right there in savings, you can technically afford it. So you're already mentally picking out the countertops. But here's the thing, that $25,000 is not actually $25,000, it's $100,000. And once I show you why, you are never going to look at a single financial decision the same way again. My name is Nico, and today we're going to talk about why $25,000 is actually much closer to $100,000 than most people ever realize, and how not understanding this one concept is quietly costing millions of people the financial future they actually want. If you want to build real lasting wealth and finally understand money the way that actually matters, hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. Here's the thing about how most of us were taught to think about money. We think in today's dollars. You have $25,000, you spend $25,000, you're down $25,000. That's the math, that's the whole equation. And it's not wrong, it's just dangerously incomplete. According to Federal Reserve data, nearly half of American adults cannot cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing money or selling something. But at the same time, we regularly make $10,000, $20,000, even $30,000 spending decisions, cars, renovations, vacations, furniture, and we justify them because we technically have the money, we can afford it, and this is exactly where the trap is buried. Because when you say you can afford $25,000, what you're actually saying is, I have this amount available right now and I'm comfortable spending it. But you are never, and I mean never, just spending what's in your account today. You are spending a piece of your future. You're spending what that money was supposed to become. Let me show you the math, and I want you to meet two people, Derek and Kyle. Derek and Kyle are both 32. Same city, similar jobs, both earning around $75,000 a year. They've each managed to save up $25,000. This doesn't happen overnight. This is years of discipline, of saying no to things, of actually putting money aside consistently. They've both done something most people haven't. They've each got $25,000 sitting there. Derek decides to use his $25,000 to renovate his kitchen. New cabinets, quartz countertops, stainless appliances. It looks incredible. He posts it, his friends are jealous, and he genuinely loves it. It feels like a great decision because the kitchen was outdated, the house needed it, and he can clearly afford it. Kyle looks at his $25,000 and does something different. He doesn't spend it. He puts it into a low-cost index fund and just leaves it alone. Now here's where it gets really interesting. At the historical average annual return of the S&P 500, roughly 10%, money doubles approximately every 7 years. That's the rule of 72. You take 72, divide it by your rate of return, and that's how many years it takes your money to double. At 10%, 72 divided by 10 equals 7.2 years. So at age 39, Kyle's $25,000 is now $50,000. He didn't add a single extra dollar. He just left it alone. At age 46, it's $100,000. Again, he contributed nothing new. He just waited. At age 53, it's $200,000. At age 60, it's $400,000. From a single $25,000 decision made at age 32, Derek has a nice kitchen. Kyle has $400,000. And that's the crazy part. Nobody thinks about this when they're standing in front of that contractor's estimate. Derek wasn't thinking this is a $400,000 decision. He was thinking this is a $25,000 decision and I have $25,000, so it adds up. But the math does not care what he was thinking. The math just keeps going. Here's the psychological trap that makes all of this so dangerous. Our brains are wired for the present. Behavioral economists call this present bias. We assign dramatically more value to things we can experience right now than to things we'll have in the future, even when the future benefit is far larger. This isn't a character flaw. This is human nature. We evolved this way. For most of human history, worrying about what your money would be worth in 30 years was completely irrelevant. You had to find food today. But here's the brutal truth. The modern financial world is engineered to exploit that instinct. Every car dealership quoting you just $489 a month, every furniture company with 18 months same as cash, every contractor offering flexible financing, they are all selling you the same thing. The feeling that you're only spending a little, while the compounded opportunity cost quietly disappears into the future where you can't see it yet. The math is brutal. The marketing is brilliant. And the moment you start thinking in monthly payments instead of lump sums, the real price tag becomes invisible. And it's not just the money you're spending on any one decision. It's the pattern it sets. Because Derek doesn't just renovate the kitchen once. 2 years later, it's the master bath. then it's the car, then it's the outdoor patio. Each individual decision feels reasonable. Each one taken alone is completely defensible. But the compounding of these choices, stacked across a decade, that's a gap of $1 million or more in lifetime wealth. Not an exaggeration, the math does exactly that. Now I know what some of you are already thinking. Nico, I can't just never spend money, I have to actually live my life. And you are 100% right. I am not here to tell you that renovating your kitchen is wrong or that you should live in a hollow tree eating nothing but rice until you're 65. That is not what this is. The message is awareness. There is a massive difference between making a decision knowing the real cost and making a decision simply because you can technically afford it right now. One of those is an intentional financial choice. The other is just spending by default and calling it being responsible because you didn't go into debt. And some of you might push back and say, what about market risk? What if the market goes down? Fair? Let's be conservative. Let's use 7% instead of 10, accounting for inflation and realistic expectations. At 7%, money doubles every 10.3 years. Kyle's $25,000 becomes $50,000 around age 42. It hits $100,000 around age 52. It reaches $200,000 by 62. Still a completely transformational return on a single decision made at 32. The kitchen, it depreciates. The countertops scratch. The appliances break down. In 20 years, that $25,000 renovation might add a fraction of its cost to resale value, if it adds anything at all. The index fund, conservatively, $100,000 to $200,000, just sitting there. But here's the part that will blow your mind, and this is the part one really needs you to sit with. We've been talking about one $25,000 decision. But most people in their 30s aren't making just one large financial decision. They're making 4 or 5 of them across a decade. A car at 30, a kitchen at 32, another car at 35, a furniture refresh at 37, premium everything consistently because they technically have the money each time and each one feels completely normal. Let's say someone makes 4 decisions across 10 years that each represent $25,000 spent or financed. That's $100,000 total in nominal dollars, completely unremarkable. 4 cars and renovations over a decade, nobody gives it a second thought. But if instead, those 4 $25,000 amounts were each invested at those same points in time at 10% annual growth, at age 60, from those 4 decisions alone, we are looking at over $1 million in invested wealth. From decisions that felt ordinary, from money people had and used because they could. That is the real gap between people who feel financially behind and people who actually build wealth. Not one catastrophically bad decision, just consistently, quietly, underestimating what money becomes when you let it grow. So here's what I want you to take away from this. The next time you have $25,000 in savings and you're looking at how to use it, I want you to see it differently. Not as $25,000, not as enough to cover this purchase. I want you to see it as $100,000 because that's what it is, that's what it's becoming, whether you spend it or not. The question is only whether you will be the one holding it when it gets there. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to never renovate your kitchen or never buy a car. But you do deserve to make those decisions with the full picture in front of you, with the real number, not just the comfortable one. Because the people who build real, lasting wealth aren't necessarily the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who understand what their money is actually worth before they spend it. And once you start thinking in future dollars instead of today's dollars, everything shifts. Your decisions change, your relationship with money changes, you change. That's the kind of person you become. Someone who sees the real price tag on every choice and decides accordingly. If this video hit different, if you thought of a specific number or a specific decision while you were watching, drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to keep building this mindset, the next video is right there. As always, nothing here is financial advice. Please work with a qualified professional for your specific situation. I'll see you in the next one.